we jump right into the spots, and the 3-1, kind of the darker colored one there, that's not closest to the camera, if you will. It will be lot 9, and lot 10 will be 3-2, kind of the whiter colored one. So these would be Remain Silent, Speak Up, Big Town. Obviously, the Speak Up Big Town would be the sow that was shown by Reagan Dalton there in Ohio. She'd have been reserved spot gilt there at their state fair. And then also that sow we call Floppy would be a litter mate to Talk of Town, our class-winning board that we would have sold there at CPS that sits at Midwest Connection. Remain Silent there on the top side. We used him this spring on a sow that we were pretty high on, and thought he did an incredible job. Would have had the Buyers Guilt that was top 5 in her division there at Expo, and then won her class at Louisville. And then we would have had I think a popular second place one and a popular third place one there at State Fair this particular time around. But can't say enough about this sow and what she's done and just how she generates. Brett and Brant were giving us a hard time. She does generate big ears. That is one thing that she does bring to the table. So from that point on the bottom side of their pedigree, the Big Town hog would be a Yanis hog that would be a loudmouth female there. On the complete bottom side of that, that would have started his spot firm there. So Big Town would be a downtown loudmouth that stood there at Matt and Tammy Miller's, and Levi would have bought that sow at Barrow Show. She would have been third in her class there at Barrow Show, and an absolute freak of nature for a spotted female. So 2 gilts here right out of the gate. I think 3 in the litter and 3 males, so an even split all the way across. We would have sold 1 there on macho males last night. But a good litter. We're excited to see what Brant and Brett have to think of them.
Well, I think the -1 hog there that Levi's got hooked up on the tuna. I mean, the Boxy are one of the two. I mean, certainly a big chested gilt with a big arm in her. Reads to me to stay, Boxy in terms of her kind. I mean, her proportions are neat. I mean, she's still got some length to her hip and some length out in front of her blade for being, the length of body that she is. I mean, I think a gilt that could work as a market gilt, could work as a breeding gilt, however you want to roll or however your show, needs you to be. I think hip and hind leg there is very good. I guess probably my favorite of the pair is the -2 gilt. I mean, just from a skeletal extension and balance standpoint, I think, that thing is certainly a tall-shouldered. She just kind of looks like a big ring breeding female to me. Good. She's probably has a little better in terms of the set to her shoulder, in my opinion, at this stage of the game. Love her rib cage, love her length of hip and her length of step behind. And like Bryce alluded to, we fed one of these this summer. I'd say this one's got more to her at this stage of the game than the one we fed. But those things did feed good, or that one did for sure. But was a enjoyable hog to feed. But this thing's rib cage and she just looks like another one that just needs pig feed to me. I don't know. What do you think, Brant?
Yeah, I agree with you. 3-2 is probably more my speed, just in terms of frame and extension. I think her feet are extremely good, and for this breed, the rear pastern or ankle, if you will, is extremely flexible and loose, and I think that's very important at this stage in the game. You get them a little tight in their pastern behind, and then they just don't flex right. And we're starting off good, a good feet and legs. The little gilt, the 3-1, boy, great looking. From her blade forward is very sharp. There's no jowl there. I think an awesome look, and her proportions read right. Like you said, maybe her blade's a little more forward than the gilt, the big gilt out here, but I think a very good pair that complement each other extremely good. Hip and length of hip read right, and like I alluded to, just rear foot at the surface is very, very comfortable.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said before, we can't say enough about this sow, and just trying to give 3-1 just a little bit more time to prop up and maybe show herself off. We're pretty high on this pair of gilts, and then the third one that's going to come out here. And honestly, this whole litter kind of really gets you excited when you walk in the nursery every single day, and then here in the chip barn, extremely excited to come see them. So this is 3-1 lot 9 and 3-2 lot 10.
You get 3-1's head up, and I think she's very, very good in her chest floor and real square as she comes to ground. Not wanting to cooperate as well out here, but here she comes across the screen. I think that's a very, very good gilt coming right at you.